Hi guys, it's October here, your host for Tuesday for Planet Pathlings. I first wanted to show you my altar setup for Imbolc, and then go ahead and start giving you a wee chat about the topic of this week, which is Imbolc and Sabbats versus seasons, or Sabbats and seasons, whatever way you want to put it. So this is my altar. I'm just going to give you a little scoot about the altar so you get an idea of where we're at. I'm going to put a particular image in here. I found that today in Pineland, which is a black heart with red hearts on it. So this is my Imbolc altar. Just give you a little scan before I start talking with you. Okie dokie, I'm going to prop this up now and start having a wee chat with you guys. Okay guys, now we've got this, I have my tablet propped up on a pot of pens in front of the altar, so I can talk to you without holding it, because it's quite hard to hold the camera steady when I'm talking to you guys. Okay, first of all, I'll go over a little bit about Imbolc. Imbolc is one of the 4 Celtic fire festivals, and as you can see by the little video at the beginning of this section of the video, there is a lot of candles going on. The predominant colours are white, red and black, but I have got quite a lot of white going on, which is not like me, although I do use white in a lot of my altar setups on the Morrigan's altar. White has come in quite a lot, not just because of the Sabbat, because seasonally it feels right to me. Anyway, I digress. Its pronunciation is very varied, as the lovely Sasha mentioned in her video, so won't go into all that. But I pronounce it as Imbolc. This is a big one about seasonal change, really, and how I will lead into my next part of this video. This is a big change from the time of year when the goddess changes from the crone to the maiden. This is obviously coming about through the change of the season and Imbolc. I do not have a physical goddess representation on my Imbolc altar this year. I've opted for the lady with holding her hands holding in her hands the white flower and the maiden mother crone, red, white and black little wee flowers, roses, that I use to represent each aspect of the goddess and each aspect of the Morrigan. So the white, I'm going to see if I can show you this. Is it going to let me? The white roses, you can see there, represent the maiden and Anu, and they are in the forefront, as you can see. Now let's see if we can do this without the camera falling over. That would be good. Stay! Right. Yeah. So this is a big change, really. seasonally, because obviously at this time of year, it's supposed to be anyway, the beginnings of spring, that first nod towards spring. For me, especially in this neck of the woods in Scotland here, sometimes the Sabbats do not marry in with the actual physicalities that's going on with regards to seasons. Quite often, I find anyway, and have especially last year and this year, that the wintry veil has lasted quite a bit longer than may in, for example, other parts of the world or other parts of the country. Here, last year and this year, the wintry veil hung on for quite some time. I am pretty sure it was well into Astara, I think. Was it last year? I can't remember. It was quite far on in the year seasonally, that it was still bitter cold. It just did not feel like spring at all. The flowers were not coming up. The snowdrops, for example, 2 years ago came up quite close by to the Sabbat. The daffodils, the snowdrops, all the spring flowers were starting to come through. Last year that did not happen until way further on into the year, and again, although it is still very early on, there is no snowdrops, no daffodils, no crocuses or anything poking through yet. So to me, I guess this is why I have opted to do this topic regards my Imbolc video. I wanted to know how everybody else felt about the Sabbats versus the seasons, and I'm not just talking about Imbolc. I'm talking about all the Sabbats versus seasons. I mean, sometimes the summer might come in quicker, the warmer weather might come in quicker, so that brings about a feeling within nature and within yourself as to how it's making you feel. How it makes you feel is then going to have a knock-on effect as to how it in turn has the knock-on effect in your practice, how you practice, what you do. For example, I like to wild gather and collect a lot of things in nature, especially the last, I don't know how long it's been now. Again, probably better to check back my videos to see exactly from when, but I have started to really gather a lot more items from nature than I maybe did when I first became hands-on within my practice, especially my Celtic Path. I bought a lot more products, including herbs and roots and that type of a thing. Not that that's a bad thing, but I have found this past while that I have been reaching to nature, to the forest at the back of my house, to the walk going down to Bangor Village Hospital, which is, for those who don't know, a derelict mental asylum that is approximately 2 miles walk from my house. There I gather certain things, on the walk down I gather certain things, within the woods I gather certain things, and in my garden I gather certain things. And those things all depend on how the season is. I can, for example, harvest certain plants and certain leaves and certain roots, etc., at a certain time of year, if the season is right, if the weather and the season is a certain way. That will allow certain plants to come through, allowing me in turn to wild harvest those plants. So sorry, I was lighting a tea light that had gone out there. So I think it really does go back to more in the days of old, when people had to rely on how the seasons were physically. It could affect crops, animals, that type of a thing. If you have an extra long winter, maybe more animals wouldn't survive that period, because the winter was longer, therefore the land was more barren, it was colder, therefore more animals died, did not survive, you know. Same with the crops. Winter's long enough in Scotland, but I can imagine what it must have been like in days gone by, where winter was a long, hard slog, and you wanted spring to come around to, you know, to feel like things were blooming and thriving again. You know, to be able to plant, to be able to, if you have a longer winter, then when you are able to plant for the next season, for the next time you want to harvest said items, if you have a longer winter, it's prolonging you from being able to plant certain things at a certain time, because if the ground is too cold and frosty and hard and frostbitten, so to speak, you can't plant what you want to plant when you want to plant it, when you may have planted it, if it's too long, you know, if the winter's dragging on. So more so for the winter coming into the better weather, and the winter coming into the spring. So I guess what it is I'm trying to say is that Sabbats are brilliant, and I do still follow the Sabbats, but you know, remember and be in tune with nature, be in tune with what you're seeing and feeling going on around you. Those will guide you, you know, your feelings guide you, your intuition guides you. And I feel anyway that at this time of year, if the winter drags on longer, it does kind of take Mother Earth a little bit of time to play catch up. So I just wondered what you guys thought, and if you've ever thought about the Sabbats versus the seasons, or the Sabbats and the seasons, whatever way you want to think about it. And just for when I began my path, I felt like I say, I did buy a lot more things in, but it's not till you start gathering wild plants and herbs and flowers and pods and barks and roots and things like that you realise just how the seasons affect nature, and it becomes more apparent when you start going out into nature more and becoming hands-on, really hands-on with what you're working with and what you're gathering and what you're harvesting. So I guess just, you know, be in tune with Mother Earth, really. So anyway, I hope you guys have a lovely Imbolc. If I don't speak to you before then, lots of love and blessed be. Bye.